Hi, I'm Angus Clark. Welcome to my studio. Are you a guitarist looking at doing some work as a side person? Then this is the video for you. Let's get into it. I've been a sideman for a long time now. I've done every kind of gig there is, from the aspiring singer-songwriter showcase to the tour with a signed artist, from being an invisible musician to a band member or faux band member. I've been on small stages and big productions. I've been in a van. I've been on the tour bus. I've been on a plane. Now, in that time, I've learned a bunch of things. And like most people, I learn things only one way, and that's the hard way. So I'll boil it down for you. The formula for being a sideman is simple: chops, preparation, and relationships. CPR. Chops being your skill set, your facility on your instrument. Do you sing or not? How many styles can you cover? Your talent, your training, your experience. Preparation is specific to any gig or audition. It's the time you put in making sure you have the repertoire down and that you're ready to do what you're being hired to do. And then relationships, that's your network, how you manage it. Are you a benefit to the people around you? Are you a nurturing part of the scene? And these three ingredients have to work together. You can have great chops, but if you don't learn the tunes on the set list, you're not going to make the gig. You may be the most prepared person on the gig, but if nobody wants you to be around you, you're out, and so on. Everybody's formula is different. A player with tons of experience and a great ear can sometimes ace a gig with almost no preparation. Sometimes. A person with just okay chops that is a master at leveraging relationships can wind up on some pretty good gigs. Then, besides chops, preparation, and relationships, there's just one more thing, and let's call it your X factor. Is it your look, your vibe? Do you have an exuberant performance style? Do you have a mohawk? There's a good list of legendary sidemen that made their mark off of their X factor. Let's take these in order. Let's talk about chops. No matter what genre an artist is doing, you need rhythm chops, the fundamentals. Are you playing in time and in tune? It is the most important part of your skill set. Your ability to cover the rhythm parts or come up with the appropriate rhythm parts is going to make or break you on a gig. Your rhythmic control and sense of time is what makes you a valuable team member. It should raise everybody's level. It's not just the rhythm section's job to keep things cooking. It's a coactive endeavor. So do the metronome work. Dig into the feels and the grooves that pop music is built on. Broaden your range by tackling some cross-genre stuff, some classic stuff, Stones, Beatles, Motown, vintage R&B. Get a handle on the acoustic and electric feels in modern and vintage country. Check out the right-hand work on modern rock. Get the full range so nothing is completely foreign to you. As far as lead playing goes, it's kind of the same thing, in time and in tune. It's not usually about the flashy stuff. Rhythm is the most important part of lead playing. There are some gigs where you're walking into having to do some burning stuff that was laid down on the record by a master technician. And if that's a priority for the artist or their fans, then yeah, you need to cut it. If it's not a priority for the artist, you can absolutely substitute your two flashiest licks for what was on the record. But the priority is to be playing nice stuff that serves the song and make sure you are bending in tune. Then there's all the other kinds of chops that make you more valuable to the situation. Can you sing? Can you harmonize? Do you read music, etc., and so on? All of these things are important, and sometimes I've had an edge over other players in an audition process because these are all things that I can do. Now, your tone and the gear you need to make it all happen, this all falls under chops too. There's so many ways to get a good sound these days. Just make sure your stuff is in good working order and you know how to get the tones needed for the gig. And make sure your guitar plays in tune. That's getting to be a theme, right? Play in tune, in time and in tune. Yeah. Next up is preparation. Whether it's the audition or the rehearsal or the gig, preparation is a key part of success in any situation. Now, when I prepare material for a job, I do not feel 100% prepared until I can play the material front to back over just a metronome. That way I know the song forms, I know what comes next, I know everything that's going to happen. There's no question about the number of bars in any given section or my rhythmic control during the solo. I am able to sing the songs in my head, and that means I can recover no matter what else happens on the bandstand. For bigger gigs, I will rehearse the set in order, standing up with the pedal board and the guitar I'm using for the job. If there are guitar changes, I'll rehearse the guitar changes. All this physical stuff adds up, and if you haven't stepped through it all, it can trip you up when you're in the performance setting. Like, I've screwed up every way you can think of. The worst case scenarios involve some missing piece of preparation, and how knowing that I missed it caused me to tense up during the performance. Then there are a lot of things that can cause you to tense up and lose focus. The better you have the muscle memory internalized with what you're going to play before you hit the gig, the better you're going to be equipped to avoid these kinds of problems. You can just relax, you can breathe, you can play, and now you're a supportive team member with the rest of the players. You're not sweating about your little piece of it. The last piece of preparation is just advancing the situation so you know the extra things like what's cool to wear, who the players are, know what's at stake. Don't walk into the room without knowledge of who the stakeholders are, that kind of thing. And that brings us to our last ingredient, which is relationships. Relationships work a bunch of different ways. Primarily, relationships fill our lives with friends, family, and good times. That's what's important. For the purpose of being a sideman, relationships work in two very specific ways. They get you to the gig, and they keep you on the gig. When folks ask me how I got any one of the gigs I've done, the story can go back 10 years or more, depending on how long you want to trace the relationships that put me in the right place at the right time to land a gig. It's like a web built on my having put in quality performances and being a supportive team member in a variety of situations. And the key to growing this kind of network is simply to never take any situation for granted, never take anyone for granted. Every gig, no matter the venue or the band, may be the pathway to a better gig. You will run into the same people over and over again. It is not worth it to make enemies. Stay in touch with people, check in with them, refer other musicians for work. Good deeds will always come back to you. And once you're on the gig, now you have the relationship with the artist and/or management and the relationships with the other players in the band. And most of the time, this should be the easy part. Everyone here is doing what they love to make a living, so it should run smoothly. But things happen. Friction can emerge. And the number one thing I know about keeping a gig is to always keep the artist's goals front and center. The artist may be intimidatingly talented, or they may be a completely untrained hack. But that does not matter to you. It's their music, so don't think you know better about how it should sound. They are trusting you as a professional. They're relying on you, and they want to know that you respect them and that you have their back. Some artists avoid confrontation and leave it to management. Some are more direct. In some cases, you're dealing with a musical director instead of either the artist or management. Whoever you're answering to, understand their point of view and do not second guess them. That's the most important thing. If you get asked to do something different than you're initially doing, just relax, breathe, listen, and execute as directed. Don't let pride or anything cloud what's going on. These folks are working with you to get a result. They're not trying to step on you. As far as the rest of the band goes, respect everyone's space and do not give other players notes about their performance. It's not your place. And don't talk religion or politics. You don't need to be the coolest person or the funniest person or the smartest person in the room. The best bands are bands of equals. Be confident that you deserve to be there, and then just let it flow, and everything will be fine. To sum up, chops, preparation, and relationships. Expand your skill set, do your homework, and be a positive and supportive friend to the people you work with. Thanks for hanging with me on what I'll call a primer on the musician CPR. I hope this helps you on your journey. I'm Angus Clark. I'll see you soon.